I don't raise my voice. I don't slam the table. I don't make it easier for anyone to call me emotional. I just slide the plates, quietly 1 inch at a time, until the plate Lydia placed for me sits in front of her instead. It's so small a movement it could be mistaken for nothing. Then I say, calm and exact. No, you don't get access to that. The room locks up around the sentence. The fridge hum turns into a witness. A fork freezes midair. The candle flame thins, flickers once and steadies, like it has decided to watch. My father stares at the wood grain of the table, refusing to look at anyone's face. Maren, my sister-in-law, doesn't speak, but I see her eyes track the plates. She notices the switch. She doesn't interrupt it. She lets it happen. Because she's seen Lydia's help before. Lydia keeps her smile socially polished, like she's hosting a cooking show instead of a confrontation. Honey, she says softly. What are you doing? We're just trying to reduce stress. This is about family. About security. I don't explain the test out loud yet. I don't have to. Silence is a decision. And I let it make the room lean forward. Lydia lifts her fork and takes a bite from the plate she thinks is mine. Her expression shifts, tiny and voluntary, like a foot slipping on a step that wasn't supposed to exist. And she says, before she can catch herself, "That's not the low-sodium one." The words land in the quiet like a dropped key. Maren's glass stops halfway to her mouth. My aunt's eyes narrow. Someone's cutlery taps ceramic once. An accidental confession of nerves. Lydia's smile tightens. I mean, she starts and then she tries to laugh it off. You know me. I'm just planning ahead. I look at her like I'm reading a report. How would you know which plate was meant for me? Maren asks, calm, direct, before I even have to say it. That's the tag team moment. I ran the test. Maren pins it to the wall where witnesses can see it. Lydia turns to my father like he's a backup generator. My father doesn't move. He swallows. Then he says the thing he always says when pressure finds him. Can we not do this right now? It's complicated. I keep my voice level. Polite doesn't mean harmless. Then I reach into my bag and set a sealed envelope on the table. Plain, unmarked, the kind of envelope that doesn't care how charming you are. I tap it once. Records don't forget, I say. The implied questions fill the room without anyone speaking them. Why is Lydia assigning plates? What else is she assigning? And why did she assume she had the right to decide what goes in front of me? I don't wait for permission. That boundary stands, I say. And in that moment, the version of me who used to keep things smooth, who used to tolerate small violations to preserve peace, steps out of the room and doesn't come back. Lydia came into our lives after my mother died. She didn't enter like a threat. She entered like order. My father didn't describe her as love. He described her as relief. She's organized, he said. She keeps things together. She understands responsibility. He said it like responsibility was the highest form of affection left in him. Lydia wore the right softness at the right times. She brought food in labeled containers. She wrote thank you cards. She spoke in words that made adults relax. Family, security, responsibility, planning ahead. Control doesn't always come from force. Sometimes it comes from becoming the person everyone consults before they breathe. Back at the table, Lydia's fork rests too neatly beside her plate. Her smile is still on, but her eyes are calculating. Like she's trying to decide whether to deny, distract, or cry. My father still won't look up. And I realize something. Lydia expected him to save her with silence. When Lydia first moved in, the changes were small. So small you'd sound petty if you named them. The pantry got improved. The calendar got replaced with a color-coded one. Bills started getting paid through accounts only Lydia understood. My father began saying, "Let me check with Lydia," like it was normal. First I stayed out of it. I lived my own life. I visited for holidays. I was an adult daughter, not a resident. But Lydia doesn't like people she can't file into categories. The first time she asked about my money, she wrapped it in concern, like a coat she expected me to wear. Are you saving enough? You're in a high-stress career. People like you don't always plan ahead. I just want you to have security. I said. I'm covered. She smiled the way someone smiles when they hear a locked door, and start counting windows. Back at the table, Maren's face is controlled, but I can see recognition in her eyes. She isn't surprised Lydia tracks plates. She's surprised Lydia slipped in front of witnesses. My father clears his throat, still staring downward, and mutters, "This is going too far." I don't answer him yet. Because the room is finally doing something it hasn't done in years. It's paying attention. Silence is a decision. For a long time, this family decided silence was easier than truth. Tonight, I decide differently. Lydia's concern started as comments you could shrug off if you wanted to remain polite. Rent is throwing money away. You travel too much. It's stressful. Your job is dangerous. You should think about stability. Do you have life insurance? Who's your beneficiary? Do you have a will? She said it like she was protecting me, but her questions always traced the outline of my resources. When I stopped answering, she didn't stop asking. And at this table, I can hear the same concern in the words she just blurted, low sodium, like my body is a family project. Polite doesn't mean harmless. Then she tested ownership in public. At a dinner with relatives, Lydia sighed and said, "We're lucky we have someone with stable income and benefits." Everyone's eyes drifted toward me because Lydia guided them there without pointing. "It's comforting," she added, "to know we can count on each other. That's what family does. We share responsibility." My father laughed weakly like it was harmless. Later, when I confronted him privately, he gave me his usual avoidance vocabulary. "You're reading too much into it," he said. "It's complicated. Let's talk later. Just keep the peace." I watched him carefully. My father wasn't evil. He was conflict avoidant. And conflict avoidant people become tools in someone else's hands. My father still won't look up. Same posture, different night. Silence is a decision and he keeps making it. Then the home itself changed shape around me. I kept a small desk in my childhood room for visits. It held a folder of important paperwork I didn't like traveling with, and a few sentimental items my mother left behind. One weekend I walked in and the desk was gone. In its place, a glass front cabinet full of matching dishes, perfect, staged, impersonal. Like my space had been converted into storage for someone else's image. I opened the closet. Boxes rearranged. I checked the shelf. My framed photo with my mother missing. My paperwork folder missing. A keepsake box missing. Lydia appeared in the doorway smiling like she'd done me a favor. "That desk was bulky," she said. "You're hardly here." I needed the storage. "Where are my things?" I asked. "Safe," she replied. "Probably in the basement. It's a mess down there, but we'll find it. Don't worry. Don't worry." The phrase people use when they want you to stop asking. That night I searched the basement alone. Dust, cardboard, flickering light. And I found nothing that belonged to me. It wasn't the loss that shook me. It was the message. If she could erase my objects, she could erase my boundaries. Lydia assigning plates is the same move as the missing desk. Assign, remove, replace, then call it care. I don't fight chaos with emotion. I fight it with structure. Records don't forget. And if someone is building a plan around your income, you don't argue about intentions, you stop access. 2 weeks after my room was reorganized, I got an automated alert from my bank. Authorized user inquiry requested. I read it twice. Then I called fraud. "Did you initiate this request?" the representative asked. "No," I said. "Do you know who did?" "I have a likely source." "I'm not accusing. I'm informing." They gave me a case number. They flagged my file. They advised a credit freeze. I froze everything. All credit bureaus. New passwords. 2-factor authentication. Alerts for every login, every inquiry, every change. Then I started a logbook. Date. Time. What happened. What I did next. The sealed envelope on the table isn't emotion. It's the logbook's child, paper made from patterns. Silence is a decision, but so is documentation. My father texted me the next day. "Lydia says you sounded upset." I stared at the message until I could respond without heat. "Everything is handled," I typed. He replied, "Don't blow this up. It's complicated. Keep the peace." I didn't respond, because keeping the peace was how Lydia kept moving. On my next visit, Lydia wasn't home. My father was in the garage busy, like a man hiding behind a task. I went to the basement again, methodical. Behind stacked plastic bins, I found a manila folder. My name was written on it in Lydia's handwriting. Inside were printouts, benefits portal pages, highlighted lines about survivor benefits and dependents, notes in the margins like someone building a pitch. Stable income. Low risk. Good credit profile. Family responsibility angle. Security equals compliance. I didn't react. I documented. Photos. Scans. Timestamps. Then I put it back exactly as I found it. Not for drama. For proof. That's why Lydia's low-sodium slip matters. The mask only slips when it's surprised, and she didn't expect me to control the variables. Control doesn't always come from force. Sometimes it comes from controlling information. So I stopped giving her any. The final proof arrived as forwarded mail. Thick envelope, lender return address. Inside was a draft application packet. Not submitted. Not finalized. Prepared. And it used my employment stability and income as leverage. Framed as support, framed as safe. A sticky note in Lydia's handwriting was clipped to the front. Use her profile. Frame it as family security. Witnesses help. She won't say no once it's responsibility. That sentence didn't feel like betrayal. It felt like confirmation. Polite doesn't mean harmless. I sealed the originals. I made copies. I added the lender packet to the timeline. Then I booked an attorney. Not because I wanted revenge. Because I wanted closure that couldn't be argued with. The envelope waits on the table like a quiet weapon. Lydia keeps smiling like charm can erase ink. Records don't forget. The gathering wasn't at my house. It wasn't behind closed doors. It was my aunt's birthday dinner, warm lighting, full table. Enough witnesses to make rewriting the story difficult. Lydia loves rooms like that. Manners give her camouflage. She moved through the evening like a hostess, praising food, offering refills, performing helpfulness. Then she did what she always did. She turned concern into a leash. She touched my forearm lightly. You look tired. You need to eat right. Your job is stressful. Then louder for the room. We're proud of her, but we're worried. We want her to have security. Planning ahead matters. My father stared down. The old reflex. Don't engage, don't escalate, keep the peace. Lydia placed a plate in front of me. Her special plate. Controlled portions. Low sodium. The correct plate. Not because she cared about my health. Because she cared about assignment. I didn't speak. I didn't argue. I didn't invite debate. I slid the plates quietly, test deployed. Maren saw it. Her eyes flicked to my face, then to Lydia, then to the plate. She didn't stop me. She didn't warn Lydia. She did something more powerful. She waited. Lydia lifted her fork and took a bite. And she said it, automatic, entitled, unfiltered. That's not the low-sodium one. The room froze. My aunt lowered her fork. What did you just say? Lydia laughed too quickly. Oh, nothing. Just trying to be helpful. Reduce stress. We're family. Maren leaned forward slightly, voice calm and clear. How would you know which plate was meant for her? That question did what yelling never does. It made Lydia choose between admitting control or admitting deception. Lydia's smile faltered for a fraction of a second. Just enough for everyone to see the gears. It's just food, Lydia said. Don't make it dramatic. I'm trying to be responsible. I set my napkin down neatly. Polite doesn't mean harmless, I said again, because some truths need repetition to become real. Then I placed the sealed envelope on the table. No slam. No theatrics. Records don't forget. Lydia's eyes locked on it. What is that? I looked at my aunt, not Lydia. A timeline, I said. An authorized user inquiry attempt. Missing documents. A folder of notes. And a draft loan application prepared using my income. My father finally looked up, like the words forced his eyes open. Come on, he whispered. Let's talk later. Don't do this here. I kept my voice flat. Later is how this grew. Lydia tried to steer the room back into fog. This is a misunderstanding, she said. We're worried. Planning ahead. Security. Responsibility. It was for the family. I nodded once. I'm not accusing. I'm informing. I slid one page toward my aunt. The lender packet copy with Lydia's sticky note. My aunt read it. Her face hardened. She didn't look confused. She looked clear. Maren read it too, over her shoulder. Her jaw tightened. Not with anger, recognition. My aunt looked at Lydia. Did you try to leverage her income? Lydia opened her mouth, then closed it. Then she tried again, softer. You're twisting it. I didn't submit anything. It was just planning. I held her gaze. Intent matters, I said. And so do records. My father stared at the paper like it was a mirror he didn't want. And for the first time, the room didn't protect Lydia with silence. Because silence is a decision. And the family finally stopped deciding in her favor. A week later, we met in a neutral professional office. beige carpet, fluorescent lights, a conference table that belonged to nobody, a mediator, my attorney, a bank fraud representative on the phone. Lydia arrived dressed like she was attending a school meeting, soft colors, concerned expression, controlled posture. My father arrived looking smaller than he should have. The mediator began. We're here to establish boundaries and address documented concerns. Lydia sighed. I can't believe it came to this. We're family. This is a misunderstanding. I was trying to reduce stress. Planning ahead. Security. I didn't respond to the performance. I placed my timeline on the table. Dates. Times. Screenshots. Case number. Photos. Copies. Notes. I spoke calmly in order like reading a report. Step 1. Financial concern comments designed to map my resources. Step 2. Public implication: my income belongs to the family. Step 3. Symbolic erasure. My desk removed, documents and sentimental items missing. Step 4. Authorized user inquiry attempt. Case number attached. Step 5. Physical evidence folder with notes and printouts. Step 6. Draft loan application using my income and benefits as leverage. I slid each document forward as I referenced it. No argument. No emotion. Just structure. Records don't forget. The fraud representative asked questions. My attorney clarified. The mediator watched Lydia's face shift when she realized this room couldn't be softened. Lydia's voice tightened. So I'm a criminal for caring? I looked at her steady. Care never has to be extracted, I said. Control does. My father finally spoke. I didn't know it was like this. I kept my eyes on him. You didn't ask, I said. Silence is a decision. The outcome wasn't a heartfelt apology. It was paperwork. A signed agreement. Lydia would have no access, direct or indirect, to my accounts, mail, employment portals, financial records, or identity information. My father acknowledged my property rights and returned all removed items by a deadline. Any future attempt to use my identity, credit, or income would be reported immediately as suspected financial exploitation. Written boundaries prohibiting discussions or planning tied to my resources. Explicitly spelled out. Lydia hesitated with the pen. Then she signed. Not because she understood. Because the system didn't care about her story. A signature is what happens when manipulation runs out of room. I didn't smile. I accepted my copy, stood and left. Quiet victory isn't loud. It's a door that locks the first time. 2 mornings later I ran before sunrise. Cold air, clean breath, empty streets. The kind of quiet that doesn't ask you to perform. Footfall. Breath. Footfall. I ran until my thoughts stopped spinning and started lining up. Later, I drove to the cemetery where my mother is buried. No dramatic weather. No speech. Just gravel under tires and winter grass moving in the wind. I stood there and admitted the truth I didn't want to admit. I wanted my father to protect me without needing proof. I wanted him to choose me because I was his daughter, not because a timeline forced his hand. But wanting doesn't rewrite reality. I rested my hand on the cold stone and whispered, "Records don't forget." Then, quieter, I said the thing I wish someone had told me years ago. Family isn't defined by access. And the final clarity settled in, not as triumph, but as a calm line I could live by. Care never has to be extracted. If you've ever had to draw a boundary with someone who used family to justify control, leave a comment. Tell me where you're watching from, and if you want, share one boundary you set that protected your peace, even if it was quiet. If you want more long-form stories like this, calm, high stakes and methodical, subscribe for the next one. And if someone in your life needs permission to protect what's theirs, you can share this with them.